We need to value time.
Listen and learn from your mistakes, 'cause you can't go back. The choices you had made. Pay attention to the one who judged you. Pay attention.
What's up, Vibe family? What's up, YouTube? It's your host KC, and I'm back with another video. Before I go into the case, though, I want to tell you guys I really thank y'all and appreciate y'all love and support. And for any newcomers, please like, subscribe, comment, tell me what y'all think. Now let's get into the video. Over a 6-year period, beginning in 1993, there was a series of murders in the Englewood neighborhood in Chicago. The female victims all had a single male suspect DNA in common. Evandrey Harris, Patricia Dunn, Rhonda King, Angel Shatten, Shaquanta Langley, Sonja Brandon, Nicole Townsend, Cheryl Cross, Tommie Dennis, Cheryl Johnson, and Constance Bailey, all 11 of Andre Crawford's victims. His 12th victim, Claudia Robinson, is his only surviving victim. Andre Crawford was born in Chicago in 1962. His father left the family shortly after his birth, and his mother paid little attention to him, leading to her being prosecuted in the 1960s, and both Crawford and his sister being placed in a foster family with 4 other children. According to Crawford, he was subjected to beatings by his foster parents and was sexually abused by other members of the family. He also claimed that as a teenager, he ran away from home and sought out his biological mother's relatives, who later went on to sexually abuse him and force him to prostitute himself. However, this hasn't been proven, and his sister, adoptive parents, and other relatives denied the claims. Crawford's adoptive father said that his son became addicted to drugs in the mid-1970s, and as a result, Crawford dropped out of school at the age of 17 due to his addiction. In the early 1980s, Crawford enlisted in the Army and later the Navy, but continued to use drugs during his further military service. Due to this, he couldn't perform his duties adequately and was constantly disciplined and eventually dishonorably discharged. After this, he returned to Chicago, where over the next few years he lived to squalor, using drugs, drinking heavily. During this period, Crawford changed several professions, mainly requiring low-skilled labor, and because of problems with housing, he lived in abandoned houses, homeless shelters, and stayed over at friends' residences. When he had free time, Crawford stayed in a red light district in the company of prostitutes and pimps. All of the victims were in the Pacific area of Englewood, which in the streets is called Midtown. The bodies of the victims were found between 50th and 52nd from Halsted to about Damon. Claudia Robinson testified at trial that on November 27, 1997, her and her sister left their family's Thanksgiving dinner and went to a friend's house. Claudia stated that she borrowed $10 from her sister to buy a dime bag of crack and smoke with her cousin. Claudia said they smoked, and Claudia stated while walking east along West 51st Street to a bus stop on South Halsted Street, she saw an individual whom she identified in court as defendant/Crawford following her. Crawford walked up to her and asked her if she got high. Claudia said she did, and Crawford said he had 2 bags. But when Crawford reached in his pocket, he pulled out a knife, put it to Claudia's neck, and told her not to scream. They then walked to an abandoned building at West 51st Street in South Peoria, where they entered the building through the side and went to the front part of the building. Claudia said that Crawford made her remove her clothes, but she tried to escape. Crawford, however, chased her and caught her after pushing a freezer on top of her. Claudia said another woman walked up to the side door of the building and squatted down to use the bathroom. Claudia screamed for help and that she was being raped. Crawford told the other woman Claudia was lying and Claudia took his money. The other woman left quickly. Crawford then took Claudia in another part of the building and raped her anally and vaginally while he held a knife to her throat. Claudia stated she grabbed the knife, cutting her fingers. The blade broke free of the handle and she threw the blade. Crawford then wrapped what Claudia believed to be a telephone cord around her neck and Claudia lost consciousness. When she regained consciousness, she heard Crawford walk up to her and say, "Oh, you one of them bees." Crawford then took a 2x4 and struck her repeatedly about the head. Crawford then walked up to her while Claudia played dead. Crawford covered her with a mattress. She heard him leave the building and she was able to get out and scream for help. Now, y'all, according to Andre Crawford's statements that he did in the police station and that was read during the trial, Crawford would come across these women and ask them if they got high or if they wanted to smoke, and that would be his initiation to them to come with him and come smoke with him. And then when he would get them somewhere, preferably an abandoned building or abandoned house, they would then smoke, or he would try to ask for sexual favors for the cocaine. And when they refused, that's when he would kill them and rape them. But as we could see from Claudia's testimony, that's probably not what really happened when he came across these women. The same thing that he did to Claudia is what the same thing he was doing to those other women. But thank God, Claudia was a lot stronger than what he thought, and she fought him off, and she survived all that torture. I believe that he lured these women the same way he lured or kidnapped Claudia to these buildings, and that's when he would rape them and then murder them. And some other details of this case, he would even come back to the bodies, the corpses, and have sex with the corpses. Not just once, not just twice, but sometimes even 3 times. This guy really has some mental issues. Between the years of 1993 and 1999 is when Andre Crawford committed these. In 1995, he was arrested for assault and rape, but the victim refused to cooperate with the investigators. He was then picked up, I think in 2000, on an unrelated charge, and investigators asked him to give a DNA swab. That's how he was eventually caught. I want to say, rest in heaven to those queens, to his 11 victims, and may their souls rest in paradise. Andre Crawford was given the death penalty, but was exonerated and was given a life sentence in the Illinois Department of Corrections. Crawford died in Menard Penitentiary in Illinois from liver cancer in 2017. As I stated before, all of his victims were found in the same vicinity. How it took so long for him to get caught. DNA probably does play a part in this, but all his victims were relatively close to each other, as in the same area, almost like right down the street from each other where he did most of his crimes. So it is kind of shocking and appalling to me. Shocking and appalling how he wasn't caught until 1999, 2000. I want to send my condolences out to the families of those queens and to Claudia Robinson. I'm sorry what you went through. If you want to reach out to me, that's fine. My email, I'll put it in the description. If anybody else want to contact me, that's cool too. I want to thank you guys for supporting me and just, clicking on the video, listening to it, liking it, commenting. I really appreciate the support. I will be doing an update on FBG Cash, most likely today. And as I always say, when you wake up in the morning, have that peace, that joy within yourself, that positivity, and spread that everywhere you go, guys. All right, peace out.
We need the value time. Listen and learn.